Welcome to the City Caldwell podcast. We have Paul from the Streets Department. Yay, Streets Department, with us today. And Paul, thanks for spending some time with us today. I'm excited for the public to know who you are, but also what your team, the Streets team, does. I think people might see some of the trucks and see some of your team out and about. But I don't think they fully get the full scope of everything your team does. Yeah. But first, why don't you tell us who you are, a little bit about your background, and how you got to where you are.
Yeah, so I started back in '97, so I've been here close to 27 years, and I started at the very bottom. At the time they called it a laborer. I was there for quite a while because we had people back then. People really stuck to a job, and nowadays it's kind of hard to find those folks. But I just stuck it out. Went through all the different levels, and here I am, almost 27 years later, and the assistant superintendent. And we're leading a great team here, and really that's what it's about here. It's not necessarily me or the superintendent. The team. They are the boots on the ground, and they're the guys doing it. They're the ones that you see out there most. And if I'm out there, I'm probably just checking on them, making sure progress is going on, and troubleshooting anything that maybe they run into that they can't figure out, and they need a different opinion, different idea. So, yeah.
Cool. Tell us about your background a little bit, like family, just where you're from originally.
I'm actually from Caldwell, born and raised. I left for a short little stint in the Navy, but I came back home. Didn't want to stay in California. Was down there in San Diego for a little while. Nice. It was nice. It was cleaner than, I don't know what it looks like now, but I have no coming back home. I don't have any real want to necessarily go anywhere else. Home kind of feels like home. We got the beautiful mountains. We've got all the hobbies that you can handle here. The growth is a little tough to take, but that's what makes the place great. That makes it's great because of that. People want to come here. I'm married. I have a daughter and a son-in-law, and a couple of parents that are still out and about and living over here, just in town too. My mom, she was born and raised here as well, so we got some pretty decent roots here.
Yeah. So you've been here almost your whole life. So really quickly, what are some things that you love about where Caldwell is now from when it was before? And then what are some things that you miss about the good old days?
Having more paved roads is a good thing, to be honest. When my parents got married and we moved over here to Caldwell, as a kid, I was 6 years old when they got together, and coming here, I went from a paved road over in Nampa to gravel roads over here. And so now everything in my whole neighborhood is all paved and whatnot. Used to, though, on those non-paved roads, we loved four-wheeling, we loved motorcycle riding, and that was kind of like you could get away with a lot more then. So I really like that. And back when we were kids, it was a little different time too. Things, I think people were a little less money in the pockets, so you kind of had to get creative, and being a kid, it's a little different dynamic than now. If I were a kid now, I don't know that I would have enjoyed it as much as I did then. But and then with how Caldwell is now, I think it's moving in a very good direction. I think it's a lot nicer, a lot safer, to be honest. Back when I was younger, there was a lot of I don't know how really it kind of seemed like a little more like the Wild West. As a kid, and it could be because us kids back in the day, we weren't really necessarily on the up, but we were kids. I like the way Caldwell's looking downtown compared to what it used to be. It's night and day. It looks a lot nicer, a lot better maintained. again, like I say, paved roads can't beat that, right?
Right. Let's go into a little bit about what your department does. I think infamously they're in a scene putting up Christmas lights, taking them down as well. But I think the majority, and I think a lot of people don't realize you guys create and maintain, you don't just maintain it, you create some of the fixtures that are out there. I think the dragon being the most notable one. But yeah, tell me a little bit about, just not a whole lot, but we'll just talk a little bit about like the lights and all that encompasses.
Right. So yeah, very little of what takes us a long time to do, but it's a very little part of what the street department's about. But yeah, it typically takes about 4 months, because a lot of the things that people don't see is we're here either repairing some of the fixtures or figurines, building new ones. We're getting everything together, getting all the equipment checked out, and then we'll start beginning of late August, early September. It'll take us a few months to put all the stuff up. And the thing is now, as we discussed off camera, we have recently brought the Parks Department on to start doing it at the mayor's request, and training them on how to do all of it. And so, some of it we're going to still get involved with, a lot of the heavier lifting and whatnot, because we have the equipment, but it's going to be a little more in their hands. And, hopefully through all this transition too, they'll have more ideas, maybe make it a little bit more, bring more change to it too, because, after we've been doing it for so long, it's like, sometimes new ideas, they're great, so.
Okay. Now, there's construction side to the streets department. There's also a maintenance one, right?
Yeah.
So maintenance meaning maybe it's chip sealing, maybe it's pre-treatment before a snow, maybe it's sanding.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about the two sides to the department, and then what people may or may not see you guys actually do?
Okay. Yeah. So back when I first started, and it's a very short stint with the construction side. When I first started, we did a lot of road construction. When I was here back behind Van Buren, 13th, 14th, 16th, Denver and Elgin, we built all those. And it took a significant long time. At the time too, they had contractors that would build a lot of the other roads. They were getting into making more of the subdivisions like they are now. And it just got too overwhelming. So anymore, a lot of that's contracted out. So we do have some more time for maintenance. Not to say we don't build roads here and there, but it's been a little while. And on the maintenance side, like you say, we're responsible for over 250 lane miles of roads, center lane miles of roads. And so yeah, we chip seal. We do something called Dura Patch. We do crack filling. We do something we just recently got into, mastic. Some of that we've, like in some extreme situations where, we're not able to keep water out and the road's just breaking up, sometimes that helps stabilize it. So we've gotten into that a little bit more. We're responsible for, I don't know how many miles of pipe we actually have, that we have to have a storm drain operator go out, clean the lines, clean out the catch basins. And so we have a guy that goes out and does that. We spray weeds. We assist the airport, we assist parks, we assist water when they need it. The treatment plant, we kind of share resources when we can, but a lot of times, we don't have a whole lot of interaction with them. But we trim trees, chip seal the thing that nobody really likes, but it is necessary. It's an inexpensive way to keep from having to rebuild roads. Keep the water out with chip seal, and our roads will stay better longer. A lot of people ask us why about fog sealing. It's when we paint the road black, basically paint it. It's kind of an oil, and it's supposed to hold a little bit more rock in and whatnot. We haven't really seen a whole lot of benefit to that, and it is expensive, so we don't do that. Ada County does that. I think Napa's doing it a little bit more, but we haven't really been convinced with that method, so we don't typically do that. We do some tree trimming, and then we'll pave the paths out the golf course. We pave paths out at our ponds. Just anything with asphalt we'll do. We haven't gotten into concrete. They've talked about doing some of that with the city, but I'm not sure what direction that's going to go. We do, of course, paint the roads. We've got a sign department. They build their own signs, the ones that they don't just order. A lot of the regulatory ones, they just kind of like order them out. That way they're just, less for him to have to do too. He does mostly specialty.
And you guys have a robust amount of assets, vehicles, right? So I know, for example, a couple of them have made it out. The mayor sometimes gets asked to visit schools and teach classes how a city runs. So a lot of times we've been able to have some of your team come out with a big vac truck. You guys have the video robot truck, but what are some of the other vehicles that are pretty interesting that you guys have?
So as I was saying, like with Durapatcher, it's basically a trailer. It has a big tank on it, holds oil, and then we use chip seal rock. It essentially is like a chip seal machine all in one, and you can take it out and you can do pothole patching just on site. It just mixes everything and blows it out onto the road. They call it actually high velocity patching, and we've probably been doing that for about 10 years, I think. But
I think I've seen it, right? It looks kind of like a blowtorch, kind of thing almost.
Yeah, it's got a weird wand and hose that comes out the back of it and swings around. I think our drain trucks, you're seeing more now because of the construction and more people do something called hydro excavating, and they use these trucks for that too. So they're a little more commonplace. You see them around, you may not know exactly what they do, but they've got like a big snuffleupagus hose off the front of it or the back of it, and that's what those machines are typically for.
Right.
Yeah, if it has a big old orange or blue hose reel on front of it, that's one that we use for cleaning the storm drains and whatnot.
One shout out I want to give to your team before I forget is I was doing a tour and I saw the train that you guys have, and I was like, man, that'd be really cool to have that in one of our community parades. So you guys, I appreciate the mayor's youth appreciates you guys getting that ready for us to enter into the Treasure Valley Nightlight Parade. So I just remember going down and just kids were lighting up and they were super excited to see Thomas the Tank Engine coming down. So just a big thank you and a big shout out for you guys for doing that. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I think, weren't you driving it though?
Yeah. So
it's a pretty neat little thing. Yeah, that's one of the guys that used to work here. He retired since. He built that thing, and it started out as just a little thing for us to take down to the train depot during the Winter Wonderland and give the kids rides. And they just run in a circle. So a volunteer would come in dressed like Santa, I think, and he'd run that thing around, and that's how it kind of started. But yeah, since then we've had it in a few parades ourselves, and yeah, that was kind of nice that you did that though too.
Well, we appreciate having it, so thank you very much for that. I think one thing that street department wise, the thing that I think is pretty interesting, and this is just a kind of a small detail, is the fact that it could be 2 a.m. Somebody runs over a stop sign, and then what is it, like 15 minutes, within 15 minutes a new, or something like that, like a new stop sign has to be there.
Well, it's really kind of, and with the growth, it's as soon as we can get there. But we have a rule that, when we hire somebody, they need to be at least within a 30-minute response time. So that means, we got a guy that lives over in Fruitland actually, and he'll have to drive all the way from Fruitland unless, something happens. And if it's more critical, it could be a phone call saying, hey, somebody closer, can you get to this faster? That goes with street lights or signal lights, not street lights, but if a signal light goes down, we need to get it up, get a temporary stop sign up or get that light fixed as soon as possible. But 15 minutes, that would be amazing. But yeah.
Well, I think it's amazing that it just happens that quickly, even within 30 minutes, just new stop signs up. Yeah. No confusion. Keeps it safe.
And it was a pretty neat thing yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? We had a light. Actually, they lost power, and Bob and the electrical, they went through and they updated a lot of these cabinets with a new system, and they actually have battery backups. So a battery will support that thing for an hour. So if it goes out, then power goes out, and within an hour, if we get it fixed, great. Otherwise, we can put a generator on these new systems, and it keeps us from having to put stop signs out, because people forget that rule. It's like, hey, a red flashing light means stop and proceed with caution. Stop signs, they're marginally more effective, if you put them out there, but yeah, it's best though if we can get that light back up, and with that battery back up, I'd like to see a system that actually warns them through, technology these days, an app saying, hey, you have a light went down. Maybe we'll get there. I think that's the direction that they're looking to kind of go. But yeah, just got to get there. And then the 2 o'clock thing, that also does happen with one big thing. And here we are in winter, and we forgot that we do snow removal, and we do put calcium down on the roads. We put salt on the roads to make sure that there's a more improved navigable way to get to work, on those snowy roads, icy roads. So and that's a 24-hour day. If anybody remembers 2017 though, it's hard to forget, to be honest. That was a pretty nasty year, pretty overwhelming, and I wish we did have salt and calcium at those times. At that time we just used sand.
Okay.
Yeah, and the reason for that is a lot of people are like, why do you guys just sand? Because it's free. The county or somebody goes and crushes gravel. We can usually get that as fairly cheap, and there's a little bit of salt in it, but yeah, just these days it is nice that we've stepped up to calcium and we stepped up to more salt. But,
okay, that's great. Was there anything that comes to mind as far as, okay, you have some general public people watching, maybe there's some questions that you get a lot of, and you're like, man, it'd be nice if 100 people watch this, I don't have to explain this 100 times, now. So is there anything like that you just, information that you want to just get out there?
What I would like to see is more people, as far as updates and whatnot, road closures, all that kind of things. Those things are available. They're on our website. They're on the city website. Mm-hmm. They keep the road closures and whatnot. They keep that fairly updated. So that would help, a lot if people would use those resources. And a lot of them don't realize, that that's available to them. But, cityofcaldwell.org, navigate through even the departments. We have, some of the things on there we need to do a little bit better, get them updated, get more information out there on that side of it. But I think if anything, that people should just realize that the guys are out there. Right now we're a fairly small crew, so there's a lot of projects, a lot of things that need to be done that we're trying to get done, and things that are more of a priority kind of would overstep some of the smaller things that tend to be more important to other people. But unfortunately, we're the direction that we go is really like a high priority too. And that's with like winter maintenance. When it snows, that's the important thing. Making sure people are getting around safely.
Right.
So hopefully just a lot more understanding that all those other things that we discussed, that we do all that. So
was there anything that you wanted to, like, any message or anything you wanted to say to your team?
Our team is exceptional. I think we've kind of went through a spurt where people had decided to go for, either they had more money, they moved, whatnot, or our crew declined fairly quickly. And I think a lot of folks don't necessarily want to do jobs like we do. Things are getting more technical. A lot of people want to do technologically, things, or even maybe they just want a desk job. I mean, I don't know. For some reason, though, they don't necessarily want to be, involved in construction or this type of maintenance or whatnot. They don't want to be out in the cold, don't want to be out in the hot. And that's what we do. They're phenomenal. We've got a great team that we've built up here. And I think it's just going to get better and better. They're, just a great group of guys, and they're willing to do, what they have to do to make things better and keep things going and keep people on the road. And, The only thing holding us back is really time and just building our team more and more. And we'll get there. Things are they'll just get better and better.
Yeah.
But they're a phenomenal bunch of guys, hardworking. I can't say enough good things about them.
Yeah.
They're a good group of folks. And I can't just say guys. We've got a administrative assistant, and she's phenomenal. She's very, for some of the phone calls that she would get, I'm just like, man, you are great on the phone. She's very, very good articulating people and issues. So.
Yep, she's special.
Yeah.
All right, well, Paul, thank you so much for just letting us know what's going on in the streets department, letting people know what you guys do to a certain degree.
Mm-hmm.
You guys do so much. I know that we probably didn't cover all of it, but we appreciate you. I consider you guys, some of the most unsung heroes in the city. So yeah, thank you so much for what you guys do. I know the last time it snowed about a couple weeks ago, it was just great to drive. I was kind of like, oh, I don't know what to expect, but I'm kind of used to the snow, and I'm like, man, you guys made this so easy, for people to navigate through. So thank you for what you guys do, and we appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we appreciate that too. Yeah, and the good comments are very appreciated. Yeah, because without these guys and without that excellent coverage that they did, police and fire, they're not going to get where they go either. I mean, that's a pretty horrible situation. Call an ambulance and they can't make it there. I can't imagine that. So, yep, they'll always do their best.
Well, thank you very much.
Yep, thank you.